We'd like to introduce you to Tom Cutinella, young athlete described as a boy with character and courage, a standout kid, soon to be president of his high school class. This is DeMario Harris, another high school football player, just days away from his 18th birthday. Those who knew DeMario describe him as wise and inspirational, slow to anger and quick to forgive. This is Isaiah Langston, a high school linebacker, also described as a standout kid, full of life. He had dreams of becoming an artist and wanted to attend art school after graduation. Sadly, that's never going to happen.
In fact, none of these players will see their dreams come true. All three of these young men's lives were cut short within 1 week of each other after taking the football field. All of them had either recently collided with another player or, in Isaiah's case, had gone through team warm-ups and was getting ready for a game.
It seems like we have been hearing a lot recently about students who just collapse and then efforts to bring them back are unsuccessful.
But it's not just on the football field. One student recently collapsed during school, but his parents credit the school staff and an emergency defibrillator for saving him.
I found him lying face down. He was still breathing at that point, but very struggling with his breath.
Tricia Wiegerink was right there when her 6th grader Brandon Wright collapsed in the hallway, fighting for his life. That's when staff sprung into action, reviving the boy with help from an emergency defibrillator.
Having that training, that now not only do we have the equipment, but we know how to use it. That's what made it possible.
School staff say for the small cost of $1,500, an 11-year-old boy now has a chance to enjoy the rest of his life.
It's a remarkable story, and it really drives the point home. It doesn't matter how old or young you are, your heart can stop beating any second.
Yeah, the condition is called sudden cardiac arrest. The Heart Rhythm Society reports more than 350,000 people die each year from sudden cardiac arrest. That's one life every 2 minutes. The society reports sudden cardiac arrest kills more people every year than breast cancer, lung cancer, or AIDS.
So, what can you do to protect yourself or even save someone else's life? Well, joining us today to tell us more about sudden cardiac arrest is Dr. Stephen Keim, who's a cardiologist and director of the Electrophysiology Lab at Peninsula Regional Medical Center. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so how is sudden cardiac arrest different than a heart attack?
Well, I know every time you talk to a cardiologist, there's always this sense of time urgency and immediacy, but there is quite a difference between a heart attack and sudden cardiac arrest. A heart attack is a blocked artery of blood going to the heart. The symptoms develop over a period of time, much like it takes minutes to longer to eat this orange and peel this orange. Symptoms of a heart attack last for minutes. Permanent damage doesn't start for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Still important to get to the hospital quickly for treatment and all that because there are time constraints. Like this apple that's ready to eat now, okay, sudden cardiac arrest is an immediate, catastrophic, sudden onset, unexpected collapse of the patient and stoppage of all blood to every part of the body. So not just blood flow to the heart, blood flow to the brain, blood flow to the kidneys, and permanent irreparable damage starts on the order of 6 minutes. So treatment has to be started immediately, has to be on site. There's no time to drive to the hospital. So awareness and anticipation is really part of the fundamental treatment of this problem.
So who's at risk?
Well, the people in our society who continue to be at the risk are people who have previously had a myocardial infarction or a heart attack. And that's where part of the confusion comes about, because it's still the people most at risk are people who have previously had a heart attack.
Let's say I'm looking at you. Is there some way I can know if you're going through a sudden cardiac arrest? Is there something to look for?
Well, so because it's associated with the complete and total lack of any circulation of any blood, everything immediately shuts down. Within 15 seconds, the EEG on the brain, for instance, is flatline. Wow. So you are clinically dead in 15 seconds when this hits you. Doesn't mean that permanent damage is going to happen, but a collapse. The patients universally collapse. They're not going to respond to you. They're usually not breathing at all, and you're unable to achieve a pulse. So it is upon you. You know it.
So what do we do? This happens. What do I do?
So the two most important things, I think, for an individual to do is have some anticipation and preparedness prior to this. Part of what this whole exercise is all about. Understand how to activate response time. The only definitive treatment for this is, as you heard, is a defibrillator. And even that doesn't work all the time, but that is the definitive treatment. The American Heart Association has really simplified basic life support now to it's really simply chest compressions.
Right.
So none of us really have any responsibility for not being able to provide chest compressions. So your first response is to call for help, or if you're in an area on a repeated venture, understand that there are AEDs everywhere. If you walk through the airports anywhere, they will. So if you go to a place at work or whatever, I think it's incumbent on you to sort of know what's there. They're quite easy, they're visible, they're simply open up, they are user friendly. They come with packages that you open up the pads and you put them on.
Okay.
The device actually will talk to you. There will be an on button that you will activate.
Yeah.
You'll open up the pads, you'll put them on, you can peel them off,
Right, peel
plug
those
it in, and literally from that, the A is exactly what it is. It is automatic, okay? You cannot hurt the patient by putting this on. So
Okay.
not to put it on, not to be awareness, it is really a missed opportunity with it. And I think if you look around, you will find these around our environment and all. As just a matter of choice, if you're part of a organization that's with it, making sure that you have these at your workplace, making
Right.
sure that they're at your school, at places where these types of events are likely to occur.
Let's talk a little bit about preventative measures. Healthy lifestyle, of course, right?
Well, sure. So because the most people most likely to have this problem have had a heart attack, all the things that we talk about preventing a heart attack are certainly important. I think for the people who don't have those risk factors or haven't had a heart attack, smoking cessation is clearly one of the most important things. Controlling your blood pressure, your diabetes, and of course exercise along with it. For our younger populations, paying attention to symptoms that might occur. Passing out is never normal.
Right.
Passing out should engender a physical evaluation and not. Most patients, like these young kids who collapse on the field, have had previous episodes of passing out and frequently have family members who have similar histories. So if it runs in the family, there is a genetic component. These kids are generally, they have a metabolic error or a structural error that is genetically defined with it. So it is discoverable before. It's one of the reasons we have physical exams prior to participation, for instance. That would, of course, be very important.
Dr.
Keim,
Keim,
thank you
so
for being
much.
so passionate about this, too. It shows.
And if you'd like to read more about sudden cardiac arrest, go to WBOC.com and click on our picture at the top of the page.
Now, sometimes it's not a condition like sudden cardiac arrest that kills people. Medical mistakes kill 98,000 people every year.
But one woman is working to bring that number down.
From the outside, this looks like just another office building, but go inside and you'll see a newborn baby being resuscitated.
Functioning air and oxygen on the walls for you to hook up.
Down the hall, a new nurse learning the ropes.
This is Matt. Matt is our combat casualty training mannequin.
And downstairs, an injured soldier in the hybrid operating room. But none of these scenarios are real. You're getting a peek inside a pretend hospital with a big purpose.
We're on the cutting edge in terms of a huge shift in the educational paradigm.
Deborah Sutherland is the brains behind the University of South Florida Center for Advanced Medical Learning and Simulation. She says it's a one-of-a-kind, one-stop shop for medical professionals.
We can truly train on every type of new procedure that comes out.
She really stuck to her guns on the ideas.
Sutherland says it's unique because all of the high-tech training rooms are under one roof.
We have had visitors from over 60 countries, 4,300 visitors last year.
Sutherland created this high-tech institute because she saw a dire need for training changes. She says there are too many medical mistakes, so she thinks the apprenticeship style of learning should be replaced with a competency-based model,
where we can assure performance and measure that performance against predetermined standards.
Registered nurse Camille Shine just finished her 2-week training.
This is the closest you can get to being in a patient's hospital room.
Now Sutherland is hoping this new dose of training will be just what the nurses and doctors ordered.
Pharmacists and physical therapists can also train at the school. The center uses teamwork as its approach to heighten the standards of health care.
Well, while we're talking about health care, can you believe the Affordable Care Act is about to enter its 2nd year?
Wow. Well, last year there was some confusion on who's eligible for coverage and how to sign up. This time around, the Lower Shore Health Insurance Assistance Program wants to avoid that confusion.
Sean Stryker joins us from the one-stop job market in Salisbury with more on what's being done to make sure that people are prepared to enroll. Sean?
Yeah, well, Jimmy and Lisa, I actually went through the enrollment process last year, and it was very confusing. I remember thinking, I wish there was someone I could go and talk to, just to get some of my questions answered, and that's exactly what the Lower Shores Health Insurance Assistance Program is doing. I'm here with Program Coordinator Katherine Gunby. Katherine, thanks for joining me.
Hi.
First and foremost, explain to me what the Maryland Health Connection is.
Maryland Health Connection is the one place in Maryland when people can find out what they're eligible for healthcare coverage and get a tax credit or subsidy to lower the cost of a health plan.
See, that's what is confusing to me. How do you know, if you're eligible or not? And so that's why you guys have these information booths that you're setting up over 3 different counties.
That's correct. We have over 30 events and opportunities for people to come and talk to us. People can find out where we are by going to lowershorehealth.org and visiting our booths to ask questions about health insurance, get a new understanding about open enrollment, what that means for them, and set up an appointment to enroll.
Now, actually, this is kind of what one of the booths looks like, and you bring a computer with you.
That's right.
What do you have here?
Our staff's fully mobile, so we're able to pull up resources. We're able to pull up the MarylandHealthConnection.gov website where people will be able to enroll. And then we have our local website here as well, Lower Shore Health Insurance Assistance Program, where people can find out about local resources, where we are, and go to our calendar of events.
What kind of resources do you have for the people?
We have informational pamphlets, fact sheets. We found last year that people were calling, but they had basic questions about health insurance.
Well, what are those questions? What are the most asked questions?
Well, most people who don't have health insurance might not even have a basic understanding. So we educate about what a deductible is, what a premium is, talk to them about what their health care needs are and what their budget is for their health care coverage.
And now there's some important dates coming up. Open enrollment is November 15th.
That's right. People won't be able to enroll with us on November 15th. They'll be able to start making appointments to enroll November 17th. But we're having a kickoff event here at One Stop Job Market where we'll do information sessions, presentations, have a health fair, and show people the website, let them start looking at all the different plans that are available to them.
Now that's just some of the information that you need to know. Obviously there's so much more, and to find out that information you can visit our website, wboc.com, and click on our picture at the top of the page. Now, Jimmy and Lisa, the most important date to remember is November 15th, excuse me. That's when the whole kickoff starts. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right. Wow. It is so good to know that there is help for those who need it. Well, someone else who needs help, thousands of families forced to flee their homes and life as they knew it. Some of that help is coming from right here on Delmarva. Find out how Sat7 gives them hope and how you can too.
A little later on, we get help when it comes to cloud confusion. iCloud hacking has made headlines a lot recently. You're going to find out how to protect your internet footprint. Delmarva Live will be right back.